My name's Davida Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits, Reach for Personal Success on a Daily Basis. Now, today's presentation circles around relationships, and the reason that I want to talk about this is very simple because in this presentation, it's going to show you just how the way you're raised and the home you come from affects the future relationships you have. And unless you learn how to communicate more effectively, there are definitely going to be issues within those relationships. Therefore, it's important for you to learn the importance of communication and communicating effectively with your partner. So today's presentation is ask your partner for what you need, how to start practicing, and helpful examples. It's all right to have wants and needs. This is something that many people forget about, thinking that they are doing wrong if they need something, or that they're just afraid to ask for things, feeling like they're not worthy to receive. One thing that many couples talk about in therapy is not feeling heard or seen. There tends to be something that's lacking in the listening, in our communication skills. So, common complaints may be you never hear me, I feel invisible, you don't care, I'm afraid to even ask you for anything. You always cut me off. You have no clue how to feel. I feel alone in this relationship. Are any of these familiar with you? Now, this is also something that has contributed to the high divorce rate that happened once we moved from the conservative 50s in the 20th century into the 60s and the latter part of the 20th century. So, how to ask your partner for what you need and learning to communicate more effectively, learning to listen attentively and communicate effectively are two things that you want to do in order to enjoy a fruitful relationship. Not everyone learns these skills as they're growing up. In fact, about half of the population grows up in homes where they form insecure attachments with their primary caregivers. Researchers state that this insecurity is likely to show up in adult relationships. If you're not aware of what's going on underneath the surface, it's likely that you find that you yourself either are feeling unseen or unheard by their partner, or that you may not know how to communicate your wants and needs with your partner. So let's look at an example. James and Rebecca have been in a relationship for 2 years. Both grew up in homes that weren't all that stable. Addiction, poverty, and mental illness were present. They were cared for, all right, but because the dynamics of the family relationships, they formed insecure attachments to their primary caregivers. In other words, they didn't feel that safe internally. James's family never really communicated with each other authentically. His parents tended to sweep things under the carpet and let the kids fend for themselves while growing up. He was alone a lot and kept things to himself. As a result, he never really learned how to communicate his wants and needs. In fact, he gets very anxious when he has to express his feelings. Rebecca also grew up in a dysfunctional home atmosphere. She experienced physical abuse for several years before her parents divorced. Rebecca also formed an insecure attachment with her primary caregivers, not feeling safe year after year. She has an easier time communicating as her mother was quite communicative. In fact, her mother overshared with her, and now Rebecca tends to do the same with James. He gets quite uncomfortable because she can become emotionally, and he doesn't know how to handle it. It makes him tense up and shut down. Both James and Rebecca have wants and needs in a relationship that they're not really getting met. This has been causing problems for a while now. Rebecca feels like James doesn't listen to her or care about how she's feeling. James feels fine not having to share intimately with Rebecca. The thought of having to do so creates a lot of anxiety for him. Often he feels trapped. How to ask your partner for what you want. A lot of couples have this dynamic going on under the surface. Many of them won't make it and will break up when things get quite challenging. Others will take this into therapy, which can be quite helpful. You see, in a healthy relationship, two interdependent people may simply go to each other, stating what they want and need. They don't have much hidden in the subconscious programming that gets acted out in ways that create conflict in the relationship. Examples of how to ask for what you want. For example, if they'd like to spend some time, quality time together, they can state this in a mature, healthy way. No games, no drama, no resentment. James, hey, hun, I'm feeling like we haven't connected in a while. Can we sit down and have some time to chat tonight? Rebecca, sure, babe. I'd love to. James, babe, let's grab a latte and catch up. We've been so busy, I feel like we could use some quality time to connect. Rebecca, sounds like heaven to me, hon. I've missed you. Rebecca, hey, sweetie, I had a horrible day and I'm feeling rattled. Could you come here and hold me for a few minutes? James, ah, baby, I'm so sorry you had that kind of day and feel so awful. I'm here for you. I've got you. You see, the authentic communication, stating these needs in a healthy way and healthy responses. James and Rebecca may not have the skills just yet to do this. Rebecca may hold things in so she can't any longer and then explode in anger. She may scream. All I'm asking for is that you spend time with me. Why can't you do that? I'm so tired of feeling alone. James may feel threatened by her need for closeness. This may cause him to isolate. He may also hold his authentic wants and needs in, repress his emotions, and fall into depression. The underlying dynamics of relationships like this are a good reason to get to a good couples therapist, to start diving into the healing work individually and together. Ask your partner for what you want and need It's all right to have wants and needs in a relationship. If you need some quality time, you simply go to your partner in a loving way and ask for it. Partners should want to spend quality time together as long as you're coming from a healthy place. Ask for what you want and need. Learn to say, hey, I'm missing you. Can I see you tonight? Or baby, I need a hug. It's all right to have and speak about these desires. Practicing more direct communication will help your relationship. Giving myself the permission has helped a lot over the years. Asking for what you need is necessary in a relationship. It's a healthy one. It needs within reason that it ought to be able to be met by each partner. There ought to be a willingness for both parties to speak and perform each other's preferred love language. If there isn't, the relationship will likely suffer. What are your needs? Are you able to tell your partner what your needs are? Or your needs within reason? Is your partner willing to listen to you and, and at least try to act according to your love language? So feel free to read The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. This and think about what it is that you want and need in a relationship. Maybe it's as simple as a hug once a day or a passionate kiss once in a while. Perhaps it's help with children and housework or quality time away from the kids once every couple of weeks. Maybe you need a silent retreat once a month or a weekend getaway together. Maybe you just need to feel seen and heard by your partner. Whatever it is, speak it. Here's your permission to ask for what you want and need in a sweet and genuine way. If you find yourself struggling, consider reaching out for help with a therapist. And now you can see the importance of why you need to communicate in a relationship. Because if you can't, there is definitely going to be a breakdown. And the kind of home you come from, the way they communicated with each other, the way they communicated with you, it really affects the kind of relationships you have in the future. And if you want a successful relationship, then it's important that you learn to communicate effectively. Now, one thing, and the last thing I'm going to say is I came from a home where there was a lot of physical, mental, and emotional abuse. And I got the brunt of it, not just because I was the middle child, but because I have a disability, a physical disability, and because I had to wear a brace on my foot, that, oh, it just had to be my fault because, oh, it couldn't be the younger one's fault because, oh, she was just the so innocent one. And it couldn't be the older one because she was deaf and just wasn't. Well, you know what? The younger one was always the one that instigated because she learned she could get away with anything she did. And today she is a miserable, unhappy person and she abuses her sister simply because she resents that they may have gotten a little bit more attention. Well, in my case, I looked at it this way. If you felt that I had more attention than you, then maybe you should have been the one that experienced the abuse that I did. And she's more jealous of me and what I have the ability to do than she is of what she chooses to do. So remember, it's up to you to decide what kind of relationships you want to have, how to improve your communication, and the importance of having healthy relationships. The thing is that in today's society, we're more willing to talk about these issues and have better relationships than we were in the past. And possibly the pandemic that we just went through had a big effect on that.